Okay, thanks for joining us, everyone. Tonight's event is going to be quite special. We have a lot of interesting people here tonight, a lot more than we normally do, and that by itself makes it fun and enjoyable for me because I like hearing a lot of people's different viewpoints, and that's really going to be the feature of tonight's event. John Davis and Carl Franklin are the two headline speakers for tonight, but everyone else that's joining here is also going to have an opportunity to talk and share your viewpoint on the time period, what's going on here this weekend. So let's go ahead and start this off right with an opening prayer. And sometimes I call this setting a divine intention. So let's go ahead and relax. And as we relax and turn our attention to the core of our being, where we're all connected to the divine essence of the universe, let's remember that our future is shaped by the tone and nature of our focus. And this being so, let us focus on setting a divine intention to manifest wondrous and glorious blessings, not only for ourselves, but for all of humankind. Let us set an intention that anyone who has been struggling is now being given exactly what they need, whether on a material level, an emotional level, or any other level where the need previously existed. Let us set an intention that the speakers tonight are guided to say the right thing at the right time, so those in attendance are inspired and enlightened by their words. Let us also, each one of us, set an intention for what you would like to manifest. And all this is brought into manifestation by the divine power which flows within each one of us. And so it is. Amen. So tonight's event is called an unprecedented potential for 1220, Lightworker Help Needed. And as I know John will talk about, we all have a part to play in this. We all have a part to play in shaping the future of our world, our society. And the speakers tonight will give us some information on how we can participate in shaping that future reality in ways that ensure that the best happens for all involved. I'm not sure what order. I think we'll probably start with John Davis. John is the director, for those of you who may not know. I think everyone probably knows who John Davis is. He's the director of the Coptic Fellowship. He's also the director of the Spiritual Unity of Nations. He's been a Coptic minister for over 50 years, a personal student of the Coptic Fellowship founder, Master Hamid Bey. And he has so many wonderful stories about his experiences with Master Hamid Bey. Maybe he will share some of those in with what he's going to be talking about tonight. One of the big things about John Davis that I'm always aware of, he calls himself a planetary numerologist, but in my mind, I call him the code breaker because he's always coming up and talking about how he's broken a new code. And that may also play into what he'll be talking about tonight. Why don't I just go ahead and turn the floor over to John now, and then we'll move on to Carl when John's done, and then we'll move on from there and keep things going. So, John, go ahead and take it away. Okay. You'll have to unmute yourself first.
There he goes.
There we go.
There we go. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for coming during this very, very exciting time. We are going through a masterful shift right now. And actually, it began on 11/11. Big surprise. And when you're looking at 1111, you've got a situation where you've got the beginning of 4 levels: physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. And I was in the travel business for many years, and I went to Egypt over 30 times. And always when we went in to the Great Pyramid on November 11th, every time, because we knew what it meant. And we prayed in the Great Pyramid. And we did that because we knew how powerful it was. Because when you're starting a cycle on the physical, mental, emotional level, you've got something very powerful. Now, throw in this year of 2020, and you've got 20 and 20 is 40. And you know what 40 stands for? The mind. Our mind. We are being called as world servers because we have something to do. And since we're in the Aquarian age, it's all about prayer. It's all about thought projection. It's all about creating a new world. That's what we came to do. That's what the world servers came to do. And we're all world servers. And I think you came because of that. And because of that, we have a very powerful situation here that we can use the power of the mind to help the souls on the other side, the great ones. They need our help here. They need prayer. And this is what we are really here to do. Now, one of the things that is happening is tomorrow, 12/21. And it's interesting. I've done the numbers for 12/21. And it's interesting because 12 and 21 add up to 33, the 33rd degree of Masonry. The founding fathers of America believed in this whole thing dealing with the 33rd degree of Masonry. And here it's back again. It's one of those powerful numbers there is. And 3 is communication. So when we are praying, we are communicating with the other level. We represent the conscious, and the higher energies represent the subconscious and the superconscious. But we are on Earth. We're in the conscious. And what we're doing, we are projecting positivity, love, and light is what we're here to do. Now, when we look at 12/21, we find something new, very, very interesting here. 12 and 21 add up to what? You got it. 33.
Just said that.
And it's really very, very powerful. And we got, again, this thing dealing with the power of the mind with 2020 as its mind. So who is responsible? We're responsible on the conscious level to project a new beginning. This is what this tomorrow is. And it's extremely powerful. And all we have to do is to pray. Pray for what you want on this planet. This is why this is here. It is truly a new beginning. And it's interesting that as I did this reading, the one that came up, the energy that came up on this 12/21, the sun, S-U-N, of the universe. Think how powerful that is. Think how powerful it is for the world servers to sit and pray for what we want on this planet. And we can pray. And by the way, this 11/11 thing started. And you know the thing we're going to do? Get rid of the coronavirus. We're in a 9-month cycle. There's a new cycle on November 11th. This is a whole new, and now we can say, we can project, we can pray. We're getting away. There will be no coronavirus. There's a new positive cycle. And we are going to get rid of this cycle because it's already begun. It's 11/11. It's 11/11 is so powerful. And now we have an opportunity as world servers. That's why you were called here. And really pray on this day, on 12/21. And again, I'm repeating myself now, but we have the mind thing, this 40 part of the mind. And for us also is actually grounding the energy as world servers. So we are the link. So whatever you do, pray for what you want. Now I wrote a book, Become the Light of the World. You know, I wrote a book, Be the Light of the World, and I've read this for years. And if any one of you wants to have the light of the world as a prayer, please email me at CopticSun, COPTICSUN @AOL.com, and I will forward you the light of the world. So I am going to end the session with the light. I'm going to read the light of the world, and then we are the light workers with representing the light of the world. We are the light of the world for altruism, selflessness, compassion for all people on this planet. We are universalists. We are the whole world is a world of one family. We are Unitarians, and we are here to bring the people together for the benefit of all people. All souls are our brothers and sisters. All children are symbolically our children. We have to project peace among all peoples. That's why we came in, and this is why I became a world server, which is a higher mind. So here is the prayer, and I read it every day. Almighty Mother, Father, God, I pray for healings at all levels, physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. In all families, all hospitals, health centers, doctors' offices, psychologists' offices, AA meetings, addiction counseling sessions, and everywhere else where healing is needed and desired. I pray that all politicians choose peace in all circumstances. Bring the 10 Commandments to national and international expression. I pray that all humanity remember that all children worldwide are symbolically our children, and all people are our brothers and sisters. I pray that women everywhere are empowered and experience equality with men. All men and women are created equal. I pray that slavery is eliminated from planet Earth. I pray that governmental law be for the benefit of the people, by the people, and for the people. Hungry find food, homeless find homes, sick and injured are healed. I pray that all nations share their nation's natural resources with their people and other nations. I pray that all religious and spiritual leaders to pray daily for all good to manifest on earth, and they continually seek the manifestation of peaceful coexistence and cooperation of religions. I pray that businesses succeed in all nations, and as a result of national and international business successes, everyone everywhere find meaningful, creative, life-sustaining work. I pray that the worldwide economy becomes the most successful and stable in the history of the planet. We are in a new beginning, and we are part of it, world servers. Now let's bring forth this energy for the planet, for all people of all nations. God bless. Thank you.
Okay, thanks a lot, John. That was definitely a powerful message, and one that we need to remind ourselves of quite often. Just to kind of bring out something else, or maybe a different aspect of what you're talking about here, I heard a lot about the 11/11 and how that's carrying forward, and that was the start of a major new cycle. How does that tie in with what we're hearing about the grand conjunction of the Jupiter and Saturn and what's happening this weekend?
Well, what's happening is these planets are coming together for world peace on planet Earth. This whole cycle of the 11/11 and the 12/21 is all for the same thing, to start a new beginning on a positive level. So here these two, to get our attention, they're coming into conjunction. And keep in mind, on this day is the sun of the universe. So we've got two planets plus the sun of the universe tomorrow.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is that this great big thing that everyone's talking about this weekend is really just one step in a journey that started on the 11th. 11.
Yes, it started on 11/11. this is the second stage, which these planets are congratulating us for doing this for them. And this is why they need us as being world servers. And even the center of the universe is here to help us too. How about that? to build on top of it. This is really a powerful beginning.
Yep. Lots of big energies coming through.
Really. So really pray tomorrow with all your heart and all your soul, and I feel you will.
Okay. Sounds great. Okay. Okay, I think I'll go ahead and introduce Carl Franklin, who's our other major speaker tonight. Carl and his wife, Ortrin, run the website called ourspiritualascension.com, and they teach a lot of spiritual principles. They hold classes, they do workshops, they write books. They've got all sorts of different ways that they help people in a wide variety of ways. I was looking on the website to try to figure out, okay, how do I introduce this guy? I know him, but how much do I know him? And the biggest thing that I've known is that he's been involved with the Coptic Fellowship for, what is it, over 40 years now? Is that right, Carl? But the website describes him as a metaphysical researcher. And I really latched onto that word because that's how I identify myself too. I identify myself as a researcher on metaphysical topics. So we definitely have some things in common there. But he's gone a lot further than I ever could, because he's got master's degree in theology and psychology. He does live script readings with people where he reads the Akashic records and helps to remind people of the plan that they had for their life coming into this incarnation. He helps souls on the other level in ways that I can't even begin to comprehend. Carl is such a powerful person in a lot of different ways, and every time he comes in to speak, it's always a powerful message. So let's go ahead and bring Carl in, and let's see here. Let's bring him in. Carl, go ahead and you'll need to unmute yourself, but then take it away.
Are we unmuted?
Yep. Yes, you're good.
Okay, good. You're both absolutely right in that what the 1221 represents. It's a new beginning. But I want to look at it on a little larger scale, if I might. I want to look at it on a universal scale. And what I'm being told, and some of the channeled information I'm reading, is saying that it's not just the Earth that's in an ascension process. It is, in fact, the entire universe that is ascending. And to go back to the very beginning, the creator of our universe, a creator son of God, it came from perfection, is perfection. The only thing he had ever experienced prior to coming here was perfection. And he knew that there is so much more than that. And Alan, he's like you and I in that he's curious. He wants to know, he wants to understand. So he created a universe in which everything, from the smallest wave of energy to anything physical matter, whether it's dark energy, dark matter, everything has consciousness. And a part of consciousness is free will. Everything in the universe has free will. And it occurred because in the Big Bang, the creator, and understand that the physicists tell us that the whole universe is made out of only one thing, and that's energy. I don't know how many different kinds of energy, but many different kinds. But all of this energy was gathered together in one place. And what caused the Big Bang, and this is my theory, all right, is that when the creator instilled his consciousness into the energy in essence became alive. It became conscious. It had some realization of what its potential was. And immediately, it couldn't, I'm going to say, couldn't contain itself. It wanted to experience and develop that potential to the extent that it could. And that was what caused the Big Bang. Now, the Creator, as far as I know, only created one law to govern or to guide all of this conscious energy. And it is a law known as the law of cause and effect. And it is the basis for all human experience. That is the reaction that we get from what we think, say, and do. It is the basis for all science. Isaac Newton, who's the father of modern science, said, for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. And Jesus the Christ said, as you sow, so shall you reap. And that those all refer to the law of cause and effect. Well, the universe has, at least parts of the universe, have gotten out of balance. Parts of the lower parts of the universe, and the astrophysicists tell us there are 11 different levels to the universe. And some of the lower levels, who are functioning primarily at the third dimensional level, the negative has overpowered the positive, especially if the negative beings develop technology faster than they develop spirituality. It seems to be that creates a lot of problems. It creates a negative environment. And our planet has been living in that through basically all of our human history, which only goes back about 10,000 years. And the Creator has said, enough. I've learned everything about negativity that I feel I ever need to learn. So we're going to make a change here. And we're going to change this balance. We're not going to totally get rid of negativity and what we could call evil or dark energy, but we are going to make it more difficult for them to exist. And we're going to strengthen the energy of what we call the light. So that's the big picture. And here on Earth, I believe, and again, this is just me talking, one person's perspective, I believe that the Earth has a special role to play here. And I believe that is the reason that the Creator of our universe chose to incarnate here 2,000 years ago. The Urantia book says that Jesus the Christ is the Creator of the universe, and he came here to experience this dark energy and this dense physical environment so that he could have a complete understanding of it and would best know how to deal with it. Okay, and I really think that's when the ascension process began, was with his coming here 2,000 years ago. And the stage now is set for just wow, the potential here is unreal. And the Earth is now, it has entered, I should say is entering. In fact, they're calling it tomorrow the official entrance day into the Aquarian age, which has a higher frequency vibration than the Piscean age. And also, our solar system has entered, or is perhaps still in the process of fully entering, into the photon belt, which we go into every 13,000 years. And that's a band of really high frequency energy. And now we've got this conjuncture of the two largest planets in our solar system. And what happens, they're coming close enough together that the energy coming off of them will be like one beam of energy hitting the Earth. And when beams of energy like that merge, you don't have 1 and 1 is 2. You have the square of it. So that has the energy of 4 of these gigantic planets' energy directed right at the Earth, because we're in a direct alignment with it, hitting the Earth at 1:22 tomorrow afternoon, Eastern Standard Time. So we've got these 3 forms of energy all here at the same time. And two of these energies were here, obviously, in 1111. And this is a continuation of that, but in a more powerful way. Now, something similar has happened to the Earth in most of our lifetimes. Do you remember the harmonic convergence back in 1987? There's a lot of hullabaloo about, that it was coming, et cetera, but nobody ever fully explained it before or after. And after it happened, what happened? There's nothing apparent out in the world, out in the universe that we saw or heard. But what happened in retrospect is a door was open, or there was a little change in direction of the planetary timeline. Things began to happen that had not happened before. And the same thing happened again in 2012 with the harmonic convergence or the harmonic concordance. Okay, the same thing. The only thing that was experienced in either of those events, each individual, not all individuals, but select individuals, had experiences happening within their own consciousness. And you had to wait months and even years to see this change in direction. It was so gradual and so subtle. But we were moving in a different direction than before these events occurred. And I think that's exactly what's happening tomorrow. We're using this, they are using this energy to set a different direction for humankind and for the earth. And the direction is going to be at a higher frequency. And tomorrow, John, I'm going to say we not pray, but I would much, much rather have us meditate, because we're in a deeper state and we're working out of the conscious and subconscious minds. And we're open to, much more open to experience what we're getting from the spirit realm in the meditative state. So I'm going to strongly, strongly urge that tomorrow, and in fact, I would start it when you go to bed tonight. Meditate as you're waking up in the morning, and not only throughout tomorrow, but throughout the days ahead. Be conscious of your thoughts, and don't hang on to any negative thoughts. Replace it with a positive thought. And as often as you have a pleasant thought, amplify it, magnify it, enlarge it, make it more powerful. And what I'm going to suggest that at least tonight and all day tomorrow, focus on the world you want to live in. The potential here is mind-boggling. We have the potential to begin seriously building heaven on earth.
Yeah.
Okay? Heaven on earth. But it's not going to happen unless we are willing to build it. We're the light workers, we're the builders, we're the shapers of this transition. Right now, the earth itself, the planet, is in the low end of the fifth dimension. Humanity as a whole is just leaving the third dimension and going into the lowest level of the fourth dimension. Now, if we want to have the fifth dimension on earth, we have to build that within our own consciousness. And that's the way that we can then ground it and build it within our societies, our cultures, our economies, our governments, our religions. It'll start with individuals. And that's what we as light workers are basically here to do, to build it within ourselves, and then to radiate it out through our words and our actions in our aura. All right. And we have such a wonderful opportunity to do that right now, because we have this huge, huge influx of energy. And how that energy manifests is in large measure up to us. It's really up to the entire human race, but because we have, I think, more insight into what's happening and why it's happening and what can be done, we can be the most powerful instruments, perhaps in all of history, to reshape the earth at a level that we want for ourselves, our families, and our future ancestors, of our future descendants. Okay, And at the same time, this can even help our ancestors that are on the other side. We can help cleanse the karma that they still have to deal with. And we can help them clear that out. So we can help all of humanity, past, present, and future, by how we react over these next several days and all of the days then that follow. And we may not see any massive event happening, but there are a number of potential events that could be happening in, I'm going to say, the next several years. I want to just touch on these so that you've heard of them, know of them, and if they happen, you'll have some understanding. One is Nasara, or on a world level, it's called Jasara. And this is a new form of government that goes back to our original Constitution, and it makes us a true democracy, and it encompasses a new economy that based on real assets, all right, rather than just our fiat money that's only based on the faith that people place in it. Also, the passage of Nibiru, that it may be announced within the next 2 to 3 to 4 to 6 months. And so we can be prepared for that. And so half a dozen other things that I'm just drawing a blank on right now. But there are all kinds of possibilities that can happen, and they will not happen unless the consciousness of humanity is ready for it. Okay? And we have an opportunity today and tomorrow particularly to take a giant step up in consciousness. Another potential result, they said that this energy has the power, these combined energies have the power to elevate our DNA, which means it could open in each of us another codon in our DNA. Now, these crystalline indigo children who they're coming in with one additional codon, and which gives them IQs 30 to 40% higher than normal. Now, can you imagine what would happen to you if you had another codon activated? It doesn't mean that you would immediately have that, but it means that you now have the potential to experience growth that you could not experience with your current DNA. So that's another possibility. And the opportunity is, to me, it's almost mind-boggling. And I feel a responsibility, and I hope you do too, of sharing this with as many people as you think might be open to hear what it is you have to say. Because we literally have the possibility here of reformatting, if you will, on a new timeline, the earth that will result in heaven on earth. Thank you.
Thank you, Carl. I'm trying to process a lot of what you've said. You've said a lot of good information, and I'm definitely going to want to go back to the recording and go through that again. It sounds like part of what you're talking about is a little like the butterfly effect, where there's this slight change in direction that we may not notice right away, but the longer it stays in effect, the more and more we'll notice it as time goes on.
Precisely, yes. Good analogy.
Okay. You mentioned something about prayer is good, but meditation might be better. And I just want to put out there that personally, I see what you're saying, and that most people pray on an outer conscious level. And what you would like people to do is to tune into their inner conscious level, where they're connected to that divine energy.
Yes, exactly.
And right. And my view of prayer is that that's where prayer is best anyways. So I would just like to put that out there, that it is good to pray, but from that inner level.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Other than that, there's one thing that you said that I would like to ask a little bit about. You said something about the earth is in the early early stages of the fifth dimension, but humanity is in the early stages of the fourth dimension. Did I hear that right? Or,
yes, yeah.
Or why is humanity and the earth in two separate dimensions?
Well, the earth has a soul, Santa Camaro. And Santa Camaro said, I've had enough of this. I'm going to raise myself. I can't make humanity raise with me. They're going to have to do it, because they have free will too. So the earth has chosen to raise its consciousness at a faster rate than collective humanity has.
Okay. So the earth as a whole is just a little bit ahead of us, and we're being pulled along for the ride in a way.
Well, and another way to approach this is the earth is acting as a mentor and a teacher and providing an environment in which we can more easily raise our consciousness.
Okay. That sounds good. The other thing that I just want to bring out, and maybe you can touch on this a little bit more. Part of what you said, and again, I'm still processing a lot of what you've said. You've said a lot of really great stuff here. It sounds like what you're saying is that the conjunction that's taking place tomorrow, the way I interpret what you're saying is that it's providing more energy for us that we could direct with our thoughts and our prayers. And it's almost like we're getting a jump start, that we're getting that little extra boost. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes, that's correct. Yes.
Okay. That sounds great. Okay. So I guess at this point, I've kind of gathered what I can at this point. I think this would probably be a good time to open the floor for questions for other people to ask questions of either John or Carl, or if someone else has something to say about the event that's taking place this weekend.
I'd like to
add. Go ahead, Ortrin. Yes.
What I would like to add to what Carl was saying, you were talking about the earth and him saying that it's functioning at the fifth dimension. Well, the Christ, he was functioning. He is functioning at the fifth dimension level of awareness and consciousness. This is something that's a goal of ours. But because we've been living in the third dimension this time, that's where we started. And so we've been progressing upward more and more. And what the fourth dimension is, it's a time of change. It's a time that each one of us personally start to look at ourselves and start changing ourselves. Where if you look at yourself as to where you were in consciousness maybe 25, 30 years ago, and look at yourself now. So you have progressed, and you've been progressing through different levels of change. We probably haven't gone through everything, and that's why we're still going through that fourth dimension, because we're not really yet at that point that we are Christ. We're at some level of Christed, but not as the Christ, the highest level of Christ consciousness. And so that's what we're doing, is we're progressing through that. And that is just giving us another time frame where we can start really getting that extra, as you mentioned, that big boost of energy that we can, if we are willing to accept that we can maybe jump quicker through that fourth dimension and get quicker into that fifth dimension consciousness. So
I have a question. I would like to know, when I think of prayer, I think of communicating with my higher self and God and spirit, and setting an intention. When I meditate, I'm going into the deep level consciousness of myself, and I'm not really thinking, I'm listening. So I could see possibly where the energies being so great that they are, that both of them would serve our purpose very well. Our intention would be to work with the energy, and our meditation would be to accept the higher energy that they're giving to us.
Nancy, I want to draw on what John said, that 1221 is a 40.
Mm.
No, I'm sorry, not a 40, but you said
33.
a 4. Okay, there's a 4, and you mentioned the number 4.
1111.
The year 2020.
2020
Comes
adds up to 40.
Okay, let's deal with that. Our mind, only 12 to 15% is conscious. 85 to 88% is subconscious. Our subconscious mind can communicate with the spirit realm, both in communicating verbally, visually, emotionally, much more effectively than our conscious mind can. Our conscious mind is very limited in its ability to receive from the spirit realm. The subconscious is our primary receptor. You're right there, Nancy. If you want a message and you want an answer, you want to go into the alpha, the meditative state, to receive that. But both communication of talking and listening is more effective with the spirit realm in the alpha state than it is in the conscious mind. So I would prefer to use, the meditative state for all of it, personally.
Mm.
Well, many people don't understand what the meditative state is to begin with. Their word right away is, or impression is, I can't meditate. But the thing is that we go through that alpha state, which is that meditative state, twice a day as we're waking up in the morning and going to sleep at night. So that, I think, helps individuals understand that they can actually be there. So we suggest that as you're waking up in the morning and as you're going to sleep at night, that you do your prayer work at that time, if you're not going to do it at any other time, so that you are already drifting or coming out, but you're in that midway point, so that you can state your intentions, as you said, and then also you're there because you're still open to listening. You haven't shut that part of your mind off yet and out there in the world, thinking as you were in the third dimension. One of the things that my daughter learned, really actually from one of her ministers, and I really like it, is he said to her, he asked if she prayed, and she said, yes, she prays. And then he said to her, he says, have you ever thought about listening prayer? And I think that's perfect, because we pray, but listening prayer, that brings in the meditative part of it. That's what meditation is listening. It's both the praying and the listening.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you.
But I wanted to tell you that there are several spiritual organizations that are having 24-hour meditations today, tomorrow, and the next day. And today, the ARE had a program that started at midnight last night. And I listened to several of their speakers. Some of them just talk about the history of the ARE, but there are several that lead meditations. And I will tell you, John Van Auken's how to meditate is extremely powerful on connecting with the universal consciousness. It's like, wow, that's going to make a big difference right there. That was one of the people. But on that one, you kind of have to listen to everyone. They have it's on Facebook, and you can't jump forward to a different speaker.
You think John Van Auken would be on YouTube for this?
Well, it may be after this event takes place, but this is a live event that's taking place. But you have to listen to each speaker one at a time. You don't have you can't jump forward. But the other group that is doing this, where you can listen to each speaker, is the Earth Keepers Summit. And I put that address on the chat for where you sign up for it. It's free. And some of the speakers there are Deepak Chopra, Greg Braden, Bruce Lipton, Marcella Lobos, Anita Moorjani, and the high shamans of the Andes, among other speakers. So that one, each day they send out a link to the day. And there you can, after they've spoken, you can actually just pick the speaker that you want to listen to and click on it.
So this is called what keepers?
It's called the Earth Keepers Summit.
Okay, Earth Keepers Summit. We should write that.
So I got from Carrie Ellis, in the Facebook 21st Century Superhuman, they're talking about it's a ULURU ceremony. And that's the great Nagaltawadi ceremony, also tomorrow. But I did a timeline thing on that. They're saying at 12 noon Bali time, but and I did a time conversion on that, and I think it's like 1:30 a.m. our time. But it's about ceremony, a world called to align in ceremony, and they're talking about the Divine Mother portal of creation in Australia. I haven't read the whole thing, but it sounds interesting. I thought I'd point people that way. A lot of you might be on Facebook with 21st Century Superhuman. You can find it there.
Yes, I would like to share a couple more thoughts if I can, Alan.
Sure, go ahead.
Tomorrow, each person's experience is going to be different. And to be open to receive, which again says the alpha state is the best way to receive. And it may be emotional, it may be thoughts that come in, it may be just be you're getting a lot of beautiful positive energy, and understand where that's coming from based on what we've already talked about here. And if there's anything that you want, and I'm talking about particularly spiritual growth, that's the time to ask for it and ask for help. We all have a number of spirit beings that work with us. I call mine my spirit family. And when you are praying or meditating, they're really the ones you're talking to, and that's where most of the information you get comes from. Let them know what you want for yourself, but also they're the ones that are going to hear your image of the country, your home, yourself, the world that you're holding in your mind. And they are the ones that can give you the power and the guidance to help you create that wherever you are. So I think it's important to be in touch with your spirit family and to, as clearly as you can, share with them what it is you would like to become, to do, what you would like to see on a worldwide basis, and so on. And we really are the ones that are in a position to play a major role in the recreation of our Earth. But it's going to be happening individually. And as we're moving in the same direction, that energy will combine. And it does not, as it combines, it squares in terms of amplification of energy. So it can be extraordinarily powerful.
Sounds great.
It almost seems too like the conjunction and what you get from to the physical eye, what you get from the conjunction is the light. You get to see the big light, like the Star of Bethlehem. And I don't know. I can't put it into words what I'm thinking, but it's kind of like an initiation.
Well, Nancy, have you heard of the event or the flash?
Yeah, we talked about it last time you guys were on.
Okay.
You mentioned the flash.
Okay, the event and the flash, in my mind, are the same thing, different terms. But that's another potential that could possibly happen tomorrow. I don't think it will, because I don't think humanity is ready for it. Mm-hmm. But we can certainly move up the timeline when it happens by what we do tomorrow. by raising the we have to be at a certain consciousness level to have it happen.
Could you tell us what that is, Carl?
Okay.
Like the event or the flash?
The flash it's reported to be a beam of light coming from the central sun of the galaxy, and it will envelop the entire planet. All will be exposed to it, no matter where they are, whether it's light or dark or whatever. Whether you're inside or outside does not matter. And it's going to happen so quick, it's going to be only a fraction of a second, but it's a very, very intense light. And it's going to happen so quick, you'll wonder, did I imagine that, or is that something that actually happened? And it does have the power to, again, raise human DNA. Now, in order to, for it to have, the amount of effect it has on each individual is how much of that energy they're able to embody or receive consciously or subconsciously. And the higher you are in consciousness, the more effect it's going to have on you. I'm sure there will be people who are at a level that it's nothing or almost nothing is going to happen. But for some evolved light workers, it can be have a tremendous impact in terms of in an instant, literally kicking you up another level.
I just want to add, what he's saying reminds me very much of when we went to Egypt. And I think many of you have gone to Egypt. And there are individuals that were in our group that had instantaneous changes. They chose different vocations. One of our friends, she was an artist, and all of a sudden she went back to study numbers, and she worked with music, and so on. And that was Barbara Hero. And Carl and we had various experiences in Egypt also. Some are right then and there, things that happened to us, we could experience them. But for me, even to this day, there are things that have built on what I experienced in Egypt. So it can come in a way you're given it, but it takes a while for it to start manifesting in your life and projecting out. And you're really noticing it even. It's like, oh my goodness. Oh, I am being given more. Oh, wow, I'm amazed. Where did that come from? Just things that you would never have even imagined. And that happens to me very often when I'm doing my healing work with individuals. Is where in the world did this kind of information come from for us to what, it's to do with that individual and that healing session and so on. And those are the kinds of things that are going to be happening, I believe, maybe at a more powerful scale. But there are the other things that I believe are going to be happening, and as a matter of fact, for me, they have happened too, is it's also a time, as you said, for cleansing, but there's also a time of releasing. There are things that may come up into your life that you thought you've dealt with ages and ages ago, and all of a sudden you're dealing with it. I'm going to give you an example of this because this was this week for me. My first child was a stillborn. And I was so strong. I knew this child, his soul was in a better place. I really thought I grieved as much about it as I could. It was on Wednesday. All of a sudden, I was crying all day long. And there were all these birthdays. We had all these birthdays this week in our families. Celebrate. And then the 17th was our anniversary. But that particular day, there were really 3 birthdays. And I was just bawling all day long. And what it was, I was so saddened, but it was because it was that day that, he had passed away, or, it was the stillborn day. And I was shocked to find myself 57 years later, all of a sudden, all this stuff coming up. So these are the kind of things that can also happen to you, so, and it's all good because these are things you no longer need in your levels of awareness and consciousness, because you are now to be functioning at a little bit higher level than you had been. So I guess what I want to say too is, and Carl mentioned this the other night, was this is more of a bell curve. This is happening. The most intense is right at the top of that bell curve. But we've been moving into it. So many of it maybe we've already experienced some things. But it won't stop then. It will still continue and it'll slowly taper off. But it's not just it's the main event because of the Star of Bethlehem or the Christ star. And if you think about this time of year, how much energy and how much light energy there is already, that's always surrounded with this time of year, with all the festivals of light and so on. And then to have this also on top of it, and with the Star of Bethlehem, when you think about, this is when Christ was born. It's a reminder, if Christ was born, it's a reminder for us that the Christ is being born within us.
And the last time that this conjunction has happened this close, 826 years ago.
Mm.
And I was reading Owen Waters today, and he was saying that 200 years ago, there was a cycle. Well, I'm going to say a bend in the timeline. And that's when they began when they discovered electricity and how to use it. And that's the foundation of 200 years of technological growth. And 500 years ago, that was the Reformation, when people began to take some of their freedom from that they had given to the church. And what was it? Yeah, 800 years ago was the Magna Carta. That's when people took some of the power that they had given to their kings, who had absolute power. They claimed some of it back and said, hey, we have rights. And that is what the Magna Carta is about, limiting the king and bestowing energy upon the common person. So we've got these different cycles and timelines that we go through, and they're all progressing. They're all helping us to attain a higher level of life and existence.
So I guess one of the big things that I'm hearing from everyone is that the energies that are coming our way could manifest in many different ways, and it all depends on where you're at now as far as how it's going to affect you.
Yes, exactly.
Right. Okay. We're a little after 7:00 now. Is there anybody else who has something that they would like to share with the group?
Yes.
Go for it, Craig.
The Twisted Hairs have a energy plan on the different planets, and they say Jupiter is the planet of the ancestors, and Saturn is the planet of the dreamers.
Okay, that's different than I'm used to hearing. Yep.
And here we are on the planet of the children, making contact with the go-befores and the dream that function primarily in the deep delta state when you're dreaming, to access the deeper mind. So I would put in there, as we go to sleep, if we have the intent to be awake in the dream, we can wake up with a message that we're looking for.
Mm-hmm. Good.
Yep, that's a technique I've heard about a few times. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm guessing that technique would be even more powerful now with this extra energy that's coming in.
All right.
Now, if we have a flash coming in, it would seem like the lights are being turned on. And why not step out with some kind of intuitive knowledge, which, hey, we're up for.
Yep.
Do you think it's enough to say, I'm ready to receive, and then we would receive whatever we're supposed to get? Or is that just...
Well, as light workers, we've been grooming, we've been instructed to sow the seeds. There was this guy named John that says, we're sowing the seeds. Well, it's time to see if the saplings are taking hold. If we've been sowing our seeds, we're going to get some fruit off of the trees.
That's a good point, Craig.
I'd just like to add to that sometimes we ask and we can actually be given too much. So it's what I feel is important is that we connect with our spirit family, or the ones that are lighting us and guiding us, and ask that they monitor that for us, so that what we receive is the amount of energies that would be coming in with that, or what our physical body can really actually allow, it's comfortable coming into your body. You have sometimes you can have too much energy coming in, and you really aren't able to comprehend it. But ask your divine ones, your guardian angel, if that's what you want to call your one that is overlighting you, or your spirit family, whatever you call that part of you. But have them be part of this whole process, because they know better than we do probably what's good for us. And so have them give it to us in a manner that we can actually comprehend it and have it settle within our being, all of our physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual beings equally.
Too, Ortrud, I think this is the time of year that we're missing the ones that have gone before us.
Yes.
I've been thinking about that so much. I don't, all of a sudden a thought will come in. Oh, my mom would have loved this. Or my sister, would have loved that. So I think our ancestors are close to us at this time of year. So that's only going to aid in helping, maybe receive what it is that they know that we don't.
Yes. Yes.
Nancy, when you were asking about we state that we are ready, I think that would definitely be a good thing to do. One of the things that John Ben Hawkins' meditation that he told us to do was to visualize our spirit, our soul, working its way upward toward the universal spirit, universal consciousness, soul, and asking it to merge with ours and visualizing it coming down and visualizing the two connecting, which he said is your truly whole body. It's your whole self when you get your higher self and your lower self interconnected. And if you state, not my will, but thy will, as you're doing this, then you can take this away. But once you've done it, make sure that you rebalance yourself before you come out of the meditation, or else you're going to be off balance and you may have headaches and things like that. But he said, don't give away everything that you've obtained in the meditation. You want to keep that connection so you can go back to it anytime, not just when you're sitting in a meditative state.
Barb, I think that's really helpful, valuable truth, truth at the highest level of truth, to become one with our soul. I think that's what Jesus meant when he said, my Father and I are one. And it's not me that's doing the miracles, it's the Father within me, it was his soul that performed the miracles. And as we become one with our soul, we too will be performing miracles.
Yeah. Quite a long time ago, many years ago, when I was kind of learning how to tap into that divine level and direct it to manifest, I would start out my prayers with the phrase, the personal me and the universal me are joined, I am one. And I would repeat that a few times until I felt that connection between the limited me and the unlimited me, and then set that as the foundation for what I was doing at that time. Sounds exactly like what you're talking about, Barbara.
Yeah, I will tell you that ever since that, I have felt a different vibration around me. Yeah. I know it makes a change. It's not just a temporary change. He said, but the other thing that when you do this, that you are obligated to be of service and to only do good. Once you've done this, you really need to use what you have learned and gain from it. That this is your spiritual duty some way. Don't just do this flippantly and expect to walk away.
Yeah. I would like to explain, this is my understanding of how that actually works. In the beginning is the creator, and the creator took part of its essence and split it off into little fragments. And then these little fragments split it off, and what these fragments are souls. And I feel that my soul is a fragment of my Christed soul, which is a fragment of my my I am soul, which is at the 10th dimension, which is a fragment of my monad soul, which is at the 9th dimension. And in it, but it all emanates from the creator of the universe. So we're all connected. And when you consider that not only everyone, but everything has a soul, the universe is the creator experiencing and expressing on all dimensions in an infinite variety of forms and shapes. It is all the creator. That's all that exists in the universe.
Mm-hmm.
And that's us. We are a part of that, every one of us.
Yes.
So it's been a wonderful evening. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
thanks
you.
everyone for coming in. I'll get the video from tonight up on the Coptic YouTube channel tomorrow. And then that way we can go back over this information and pick up what we missed.
Right. Well, it's very enlightening, and I enjoyed the conversation very much.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Yes, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.